Hey, y'all. Just thought I'd make a quick observation. Nothing spiritual, just sure most spiritual people love fantasy. And, I read like the first two books of Game of Thrones like over a decade ago, and I didn't want to read them again until the next book came, but it's been 11 fucking years. And I've just been wanting something to read, and you know, I loved the show the first few seasons until they started deviating from the book since they had you know, anything to go on, and then everybody hates the last season because Daenerys was done fucking dirty. But I'm in the third book right now, and I am just so wishing that Dan and Dave curse those fucking assholes for not including the magical elements of, all of the Starks being wargs, and, John and his actual connection to Ghost. And in the show, Bran was the only one that was the warg. And I know later, because I get bored and I watch, videos of people that explain things, and I guess Arya is a warg too, and some theories are that's why, the faceless men took her in was because, she's a badass and she was a warg. But I'm kind of angry that they didn't include those elements in the show, that even maybe Sansa was a warg, but you know, that very sad situation where Lady had to get killed. But like, why didn't they include these elements? Where was it Quarth? I know she was in like one or two episodes, the lady with the red mask. And I know later on that she sends Daenerys dreams. And it's like, as a fantasy lover, and knowing that the books are always better than, movies or TV shows, why did they leave that shit out? It would have been so much better if they included more of the magic. Because why do people love fantasy? Because it takes you out of fucking reality and it's magic and just so much more and so much more interesting. And like, you get into these worlds and you're like, fuck, I wish I was in this world. And it's like, I'm just, on this book, and I'm like, why didn't they include this in the show? And it's, when I was like, I read the book when I was in jail. So, but yeah, I'm a little badass myself, but why do they always take the best elements of the book and put it on the screen? Like, I gotta mention the Wheel of Time, the total fucking destruction of that world. But one of the best parts when they reached the end was the Green Man. If anybody's read The Wheel of Time, like, the first book. Like, that is, like, that would have been a pretty excellent fucking fantasy element of the Green Man and this, like, traveling fucking just wooded, flowering, beautiful, whatever. Like, why do they leave that shit out? Why do they think that people don't want that when they're watching TV or movies? It's like they take the best elements and just, like, Hollywood is bullshit. And I'll admit, one of my favorite movies is Stardust. The Stardust? And it's been a little while since I watched it. But Claire Danes, and she's a star and she falls from the sky, and then they have a, um fuck, what's her name? That's the main witch. God, so bad with names. But it's one of my favorite movies because it is all fantasy. And there's just so much magic, and like I don't even know if it's a book, but if it's a book, I would love to fucking read it. But why do show creators and movie makers take out the best elements of magic and make it just the political fucking bullshit? Yes, I fucking love the show Game of Thrones, but going back through the books, which, I think I only read the first two, like, over a decade ago, but now that I'm in the third, I'm like, why didn't they put this in the show? And I know I do remember Dan and Dave, fucking assholes, saying, oh, we don't want to put so much magic in the show. Why? Because you're fucking idiots and you completely destroyed the best fucking show ever made? They did Daenerys so dirty. Like, her whole arc is, yeah, she can be a badass bitch, but she protected people. And for her to just fucking destroy a whole fucking city, like, that made no sense. And I know so many fans are just so angry about the last episode, but the last couple seasons were just like, eh. Like, why didn't you include Lady Stoneheart? Like, she was fucking badass. That would have been excellent. Like, fucking dead Catelyn that can't speak, just killing all the Freys. I would have loved to see that. Hopefully, with these rumors of the Jon Snow, show, maybe they can fix what Dan and Dave broke. But I'm loving House of the Dragon because they're including the magical elements with the one daughter, she's a dragon dreamer. Loving that the Valyrian steel blade that, just randomly popped up. We don't know how it got there in Game of Thrones, but the Targaryens had it in House of the Dragon, and it was singing when Viserys died, and he mistook, you know, Alicent for Rhaenyra and answered her question. So it's like, I'm loving it. Even if they're, are going with some of the political bullshit, it is written so well that I'm like, I fucking love it. I love that they're including shit in it. I haven't read Fire and Blood. It's not the kind of book that I want to read because it's written like a text and it's from three different point of views, but I'm sure I'll listen to the audiobook at some point. But I just wanted to make commentary since a lot of spiritual people I know love fantasy because they live in that kind of world in their heads, and I do in my own head. Like, I don't think like normal people. Like, I see things differently, so which is why I love fantasy because it's a different world. It takes me out of what I physically see, feel, whatever. It's the world beyond, and that's why I connect to it. So I just wanted to make that commentary because, of course, I can't really read because it hurts my eyes, so I listen to audiobooks. God, it's gonna suck when shit hits the fan and the power goes out and I won't have my audiobooks, but okay, I will go with a headache and continue reading my books. But, do y'all agree? Like, should these adaptations include more of the magic? And for you, Rings of Power, I couldn't even finish that. They completely destroyed it, and I fucking hate everybody, and I hope they all die. But, yeah. Like, what do y'all think? Should the magic be included in adaptation? Should it be truer to the books? I know books can't always be completely translated on the screen. They have to make some changes, but some things it's like, why? Why couldn't you have included that? That would have made it much more interesting. Like, I could give you tons of fucking like examples, but City of Bones completely fucked that up, but it's whatever. But anyways, just had to do a little rant since I'm listening to, my audiobook on the third book of Game of Thrones, or the Song of Ice and Fire, and I'm like, why didn't they include any of this in the show? It would have made it so much better. Jon Snow being a warg, so much better, makes so much more sense. But whatever. Love y'all.